You know, it all works. Are we up? Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. This is a very, very special Shabbat. It's a very special Shabbat. And all Shabbats are joyous, but we temper our joy tonight. It was not long ago, still goes on, where we are persecuted in ways. If I could ask folks to come on over here. But we have faith that it will always, the darkness. If you read the Torah, how many of you read the Torah Talk column this past week? So we have faith that darkness always changes to light. Before we bless the world and are blessed by the world, with Hinei Matov, I ask that if you know the words to please join me. That's too high for me. I'll figure one. I'll find one. Eli, Eli, Shelo Yagamer Leolam. Hakol v'hayam, rishru shel hamayim, barak hashamayim, tfilat ha'adam. Hakol v'hayam, rishru shel hamayim, barak hashamayim, tfilat ha'adam. O Lord, my God, I pray that these things never end. The sand and the sea, the rush of the waters, the crash of the heavens, the prayers of man. The sand and the sea, the rush of the waters, the crash of the heavens, the prayers of the man. It is Shabbat before Tisha B'Av, and it is important that we remember all those who died. It's important that we remember the tragedies that have happened in our people's history. And we'll talk about this more later. What is, bless you, what is as or more important is to remember that we survived. Our faith is different than other traditions' faith. Our faith is based on the fact that we've had this kind of hell and we survived it. And if we survived, we thrived. And part of the way we do it is we gather together. We'll talk more about the sadness and the depth of Tisha B'Av later on. But part of the way we do it is by prayer, by singing, by communing, by being with each other, physically and virtually. And part of the way that we do it is by being grateful that we are all here. We say, Hinei Matov, behold how good it is to dwell together. We're not in tents made of cloth or fabric or leather. We're in tents here made of sky and stars and plants. And the way that we deal with pain is that we also celebrate joy as we sing joyously. Hinei Matov. Before we do we all know Matt, right? If you weren't sure, this isn't Benny. This is not Cantor Benny. Benny is was unavailable to be here, so he has sent in his substitute for the day, Michael. Third twin, Benny, Jack, and Michael. And Michael is actually going to be teaching music in the local middle schools, right, as a choir director and things like that. And so he came to join us in having some fun tonight. So make sure you make him feel really, really welcome. Not as welcome as you would Benny, because Benny gets jealous. You know about that. But right up until that. So we are so grateful. Hinei Matov.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Hinei Matov u'manayim, shevet achim gam yachad. Hinei Matov u'manayim, shevet achim gam yachad.
Hinei Matov, shevet achim gam yachad. Hinei Matov,
שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומנעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומנעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומנעים.
Oh, come on, if you don't clap, he's going to be disappointed.
הנה מה טוב ומנעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב, הנה מה טוב, ידעי, הנה מה טוב, הנה מה טוב, ידעי, הנה מה טוב ומנעים, שבת אחים גם יחד.
הנה מה טוב ומנעים,
שבת אחים גם יחד.
Wish each other Shabbat Shalom. If I could be kind enough for Stephanie and Rita and Sue-Ann. Sherry, come on up. Be kind enough to come. Come on. Kathy, you haven't been in a while. Kathy, come on. Kathy, come on, join. You want to or no? Come on. As we light the Sabbath candles. When we're done lighting the Sabbath candles, we have this wonderful prayer, Shalom Aleichem. Shalom Aleichem is this delicious prayer. Okay, don't be so friendly. Shalom Aleichem is this wonderful prayer. Why do we sing Shalom Aleichem? Because, I'm glad you asked, because every Shabbos, two angels come to every home, every community, every family. A Shabbos of good, a Shabbos, or an angel of good, an angel of not so good. And if things are joyous, the angel of good says, may it be like this all week. And the other angel is forced to say amen. God forbid it's the opposite. And things, there's discord, there's harmony, there's jealousy, there's pain. God forbid, then the bad angel says, may it be like this all week, and then the good angel is forced to say amen. Now, we only want good angels, right? Okay, so you guys want good angels, you guys don't really care. So, we sing Shalom Aleichem. During the summertime, we do the Karlbach Melody. There are three versions, or three times we repeat each chorus. The reason is, what first is for your nefesh, the physical aspect of your soul. The second for your ruach, the mental emotional aspect of your soul. The third for your neshama, the spiritual aspect. That's the same reason that these ladies are going to wave their hands over the candles 3 times to bring the neshama yatera, the extra portion of soul, through the gateway. This is not them drying their fingernails. And so that was funnier than that. So as we light the candles, we then welcome in angels of peace with Shalom Aleichem. It's childproof. They gotta say the blessings first. Who's got a lighter with them? Thank you. We got it. I'm not asking you why. I know you left your cigarettes in the machine. Only people who are old enough would understand that. Oh, we got a new one here? There we go. Matt. Oh. Matt, wait.
Asher kishanu b'mitzvotav v'tzianu lehamikner shalom.
Amen. As we welcome in angels of peace into our lives for all week with Shalom Aleichem. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Yasharet, Malchei Elyon, Melech Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Yasharet, Malchei Elyon, Melech Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Lai lai lai, Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Yasharet, Malachei Elyoni, Melech Malachei Hamlachim. Oh, if you want, you can stand. If you want, you can dance. If you want, sing. Shalom, Malachei Shalom, Malchei Elyoni, Melech Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
boachem l'shalom, malchei shalom, malchei elyon, mimelech, malchei mamlachim, kadosh baruch, lai boachem l'shalom, malachei shalom, malachei elyon, mimelech, malachei mamlachim, oh HaKadosh, Barchuni, Barchuni Shalom, Malchei Shalom, Malchei Elyon, Melech, Malchei Hamlachim, Kadosh Baruch Hu, Barchuni Shalom, Malchei Shalom, Malchei Elyon, Melech, Malchei Hamlachim, Kadosh Baruch Hu, Lai Barchuni Shalom, Malchei Shalom, Malchei Elyon, Shalom, Malchei Elyon, Melech, Malchei Hamlachim, Kadosh Baruch Hu. Tzeitzim Shalom, Malchei Shalom, Malchei Elyon, Melech, Malchei Hamlachim, Kadosh Baruch Hu. Lai, Tzeitzim Shalom, Malchei Shalom, Malchei Elyon, Melech, Malchei Hamlachim, oh HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Wish each other a good Shabbos. If you are a child, someone's here a child of God, and there's a stairway to heaven, and I get so lost. So if you're a child with a parent, doesn't matter how old. Yes, I'm looking at you, Alex and Joel. Bring your parent on up here. Children and parents, no can. Dogs don't count. Children and parents, come on up here. Emil.
What? Thank you. Thank you.
This is why it took 40 years to wander through a desert that should have taken 2 years. All right, everyone take a few steps that way. The tallest has to move too. Here, everyone go up with the hand. Raise it high, guys. Get it high. You know, our children, our parents underneath. Come on. You know, it used to be. Then we got together and we had good meat. It was dancing on the pond. This is why it's so important. If I can sneak in here, please, my own kid. No, you can't hold and left. Have already, sir? Oh, yes.
I'll hold it.
For the girls, may God bless you like Sarah, Becca, Rachel, and Leah. For the boys, may God bless you like Ephraim and like Manasseh. May God always bless you and always protect you. May God lift up his countenance, being kind, gracious, compassionate with you in every place, space, and time. May God bless you with good health, with mental health, emotional health, physical health, spiritual health, with wisdom, with courage, with parnasa, with prosperity, with fun, with joy, with courage, with strength, with gentleness, with compassion, with empathy, with sisterhood, with brotherhood. Wonder. Playfulness. Kindness, with empathy, with love, and always with peace. my very favorite part of I got a win on that one. I got some Salem movement on that one.
Okay, sorry.
So, on page 38 in your prayer book or on your song sheets, if you don't have a prayer book or a song sheet, you can get them over by Orlando or Rita. Orlando, Rita, raise your hand, stand up. We're out. We'll have more, so share. L'chad Odi is this beautiful, beautiful chant. It is a wedding chant. I haven't told the story yet this summer, and I like to tell it a couple times a year. This is a true story. This is actually a true story. A young man was at a Shabbat at a temple in Israel, I think about 25, 30 years ago. And after the service, he was standing around and a family asked him to come on over and come to Shabbos dinner. So he comes to Shabbos dinner and they, they've done a little eating and they say, what song do you want to sing? And he goes, I like that song we sang in the temple. It kind of hums it and it's L'chad Odi. So do L'chad Odi. And a couple more minutes go by and they say, what other song do you want to sing? He goes, I really like that song. And they do L'chad Odi a few more times. This goes on another half hour, they do L'chad Odi again. He says, it just really resonated to me. And this is, by the way, is a documented true story. As opposed to a rabbi's true story. This is actually a true story. And so the family asked him his background and he gave the following story. He was Palestinian. And he'd grown up hating his father, who was abusive. And he grew up hating Jews because that's what he was told. He finally got so tired of his father and the abuse that he said, I'm leaving to go make my own way in the world. And his mother came to him and said, you need to know something. You're actually not Palestinian. You're actually a Jew. I'm Jewish and I never converted. But I married your father, which was a huge mistake. But you are, not only are you a Jew, you are a descendant of a great line of rabbis. I don't know a lot about them, but this was given to me by my grandmother. And she gives a photograph of a grave to her son. And the Israeli family says, well, can we see the photograph? We'd love to know who the rabbi is. Shows him the photograph, and it's his great-grandmother next to the grave of her ancestor, Alkabetz, who is the author of L'chad Odi. This is a powerful song. In it, we are asking that God blesses us, that the Shekhinah blesses us. She wanders all week, and that we give her a place to rest, and she blesses us. It is joyous, and it is about having her Boiva Shalom, that she should come in peace.
Here we go. Yalla la 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 L'chad Odi. Yalla la 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 Likrat Kala. La 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 Pnei Shabbat. Pnei Shabbat Kabela. Yalla la 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 L'chad Odi. Yalla la 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 Likrat Kala. La 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 Pnei Shabbat. Pnei Shabbat Kabela.
Shamor v'zachor, that we should remember and protect the Sabbath.
Shamor v'zachor b'dibur echad
Hishmiyanu el hamiuchad
Adonai echad
Ushmo echad
L'shemo tiferet L'tilah
Yai, la 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 L'chad Odi. La 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 la, likrat kala. La 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 la, B'nai Shabbat. B'nai Shabbat nekabela. Mikdash Melech, we pray for the holy city of Jerusalem.
Likrat Shabbat.
Melech. I know you guys know the Rav Lahak Shevet Be'yemek Habacha Behu Yakmol Alaykem La Yai Rai Rai La 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 Charoti La 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 Likrat Kala La 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 B'nai Shabbat B'nai Shabbat Nekab. Hitorari. We light the fire inside ourselves up. Hitorari. Hitorari.
Himaore Kumi Uri 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 Shir Daberi Kevod Adonai Alayik Niglan
Yai Lai Lai
Yala la 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 Chadodi Yala la 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 Likrat Kala Yala la 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 B'nai Shabbat B'nai Shabbat Nekabela.
We turn to, there we go. We turn to where we came in. Where we came in. And we contemplate the idea of a bride. When a bride comes in, she blesses all of us with peace and joy, with good health, with love, with success, with consciousness, with awareness. And so we ask her to come, but we have a shalom that she should come in peace. Bless all of us like weddings. It's wedding season, and boy, is it ever. So we ask her to come to bless us. Boive shalom. Boive shalom. Ateret ba'ala. Gam besimcha. Utzochala. Toch emunei. Am segula. Boi kala. Boi kala. La 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 charoti. La 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 likrat kala. La 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 B'nai Shabbat. B'nai Shabbat nekab. We remain standing as the cantor calls us to worship with the Baruch Hu.
Yai la 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 la. Yai la 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Baruch Hu Adonai Hamevorach. Baruch Adonai Hamevorach Hamevorach Leolam Vaed. Hamevorach, Hamevorach, Leolam Vaed. Please be seated. Okay. That's not nice.
Okay, so I said to Matt, "You okay?" He goes, "Yeah, death rattle will be over in a second." We don't think it's funny, do we? We turn our prayer books to page 50. So Judaism is really all about separation, the holiness of the day from the holiness of the night, the holiness of the weekday from the holiness of the Shabbat, the holiness of a Jew from the holiness of a non-Jew. Don't think for a moment non-Jews aren't holy. It's a different holiness. Even a pig is holy. Just another kind of holiness we want to stay away from, both physically and metaphorically. Chazars we stay away from. And Mariv Aravim, which you find on page 50, I believe. I was looking at the Hebrew Suan. So there. Actually, I wasn't. I just messed up the page. So, which you find on page 51. This is a prayer that is entirely about separation. The first thing God does is separate one from the other, and this is what we need to do, is holy separation. And so we turn to page 50 as we read responsively. Praise to you, Lord our God, ruler of the universe, whose word brings on the dusk of evening.
10 seasons.
The stars above follow their appointed rounds in response to your divine will.
You create day and night. You alternate darkness and light.
You remove the day and bring on the night. You separate one from the other.
We call you Lord of heavenly hosts. You are our loving God.
May you rule over us as you rule over nature. Praise to you, O Lord, who brings on the evening dusk. El Chai v'Kayam, Tam Yilkam Le'Elohim Va'ed, Baruch Atah Adonai HaMa'ariv Haravim. Take a look around you for a minute. Before we can say the Shema, we have to recognize God's love for us. We call Ahavat Olam, God's hidden love, and God's love for the world is the same phrase. Take a look around you. We've been coming here for a few weeks now, right? Are you noticing how some of the night jasmine are blooming a little earlier? Because the sun is going down just a little bit earlier. Take a look around the faces. Look at the faces you know, the ones you don't, the smiles, the frisbees. Frisbees are good. They're an expression of love. Take a look at everything around you. As I said before, Steve Brewer, who for many years was he was the executive director of Wishblower Temple, but before that he was the camp director of Camp Hess Kramer for many years. He used to say that when he couldn't figure out what to pray, he would go into the chapel and look at the many colors of green in the grass and the many colors of green in the trees. Because we can't make those many colors, can we? So rather than singing or chanting Ahavat Olam, for a moment, look around you to the faces. Listen to the wind. Feel the grass grow. Rabbi Nachman of Breslov teaches that before you can say your morning blessings, you must go outside silently and listen to the song of the grasses and the trees and the bushes. And the rabbits, which will be here. And so, for a moment, contemplate how much God loves each of us, because whatever travails, whatever challenges are going on in life right now, they don't really matter, do they? They don't matter to the night jasmine, and they don't matter to life. Instead, take a moment to be silent and still and listen. Just pause. From that place, we can say the Shema and the Ve'ahavta.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך. והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ולכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך. למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
So this is normally the place where Benny and I sing and we pray about Ufros Selenu, but Michael's never done that before. So we all need to really do this. So we're gonna try and make it easier, but you're all gonna have to really help. Because the prayers are all about darkness changing to light, aren't they? About Ufros Selenu, Sukat Shlomecha, that God should spread over us a covering of peace, that darkness changes to light, and that Lo Yisagoy. When we realize that, nation shall no longer lift up a sword against nation. So, give me a key here, and I'm gonna work on them. Okay. So, I'm gonna need your help. Ready? Come on, Mitch. Roll into dark, roll into light. Night becomes day and the date not. Loy sagoy helgoheret. Loy madu hama. Loy sagoy helgoheret. Loy, get up! Come on, get up! Roll into dark, roll into light. Night becomes day and the day turns to night. Roll into dark, roll into light. Night becomes day and the day turns to night. Loy sagoy loy madu hama. Loy sagoy Yimadu Ufaros Alein Listen to each other. Just really listen. Every soul here has a letter in the Torah. Here's what makes the Torah great. Keep it around, please. Just listen to each other. Oh, hey. That's what a blessing is. It's when we choose to sing, to be together, to create peace. We continue with the Hatzi Kaddish.
יתקדל ויתקדש שמי רבה,
אמן.
בעמד יברח חירותי וימליך מלכותי, בחייכון ומכון וחיי תכל בית ישראל. Bagala, Bagala, who is not Karif, Vimeru, Amen. Yeheshme Rabba Mevarach, Le'alam Me'almaya, Yitbarach, Yitbarach, Vishabach, Yitbar Vidramam Yitnaseh, V'yitadar, V'yitale, V'yitalal, Shmei Kedusha V'yichu, Le'elan Minchor Birchata V'shirata.
Please rise.
Tushbechata V'nechemata, Damiran Be'ama, V'yimeru, Amen.
God, open my mouth, pause my lips to praise you. The idea is you want to be empty.
For a moment, make yourself empty. You got to put it in number 1 or number 5 or whatever. As we make ourselves empty, okay. So God wants to cause our lips to praise. Obviously, he does not want the microphone for me. But that is the most important line, is to allow ourselves to be empty and to pray.
Ya la 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 Adonai. Ya la 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 Svatai Tifta. Ya la 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 Ufi Yagid. Ufi Yagid Tehilatecha. Ya la 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 Adonai. La 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 Svatai Tifta. La 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 Ufi Yagid. Ufi Yagid Tehilatecha. Ya la 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 Adonai. Ya la 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 Svatai Tifta. Ya la 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 Ufi Yagid. Ufi Yagid Tehilatecha.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu ve'Elohei Avoteinu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, V'Konei HaKol, V'Zocher Asdei Avot, U'Mevi Goel Livnei B'neihem, L'ma'an Shemo Be'ahava, Melech Ozer Moshiach U'Magen, Baruch Atah Adonai, Magen Avraham. Atah Gibor Leolam Adonai, Mechaye Metim Atah Rav Lehoshia, Mechalkel Haim Bechesed, Mechaye Metim Berachamim Rabim, Somech Noflim Berofei Cholim, Umatir Asurim, Umekayem Emunato, Lishenei Afar, Michamocha Baal Gevurot, Umido Melach, Melech Memir Umechayeh, Umatzliach Yeshua, V'neman Atal Chayot Metim, Baruch Atah Adonai, Mechayeh HaMetim. Please continue with traditional prayers through page 74, or the prayers of your heart. When you're done with your private devotions, please be seated.
Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. One more time. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Ki atahu melech adon lechol hashalom. Ki atahu melech adon lechol hashalom. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. V'tov beinecha levarech et amcha Yisrael b'chol עת ובכל שעה בשלומך. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim leolam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim leolam. Tasim leolam. Tasim leolam.
Shabbat Shalom. Kol kavod to Michael. It's hard to fill in, especially for someone like Benny. So kol kavod. Now go be off with you, with Matt. He'll show you where to go. So, how many of you actually read those Torah talks? Okay, so for the 4 people who read them like them. That's batting 1,000 where I come from.
400.
Exactly. There's an old teacher who used to say that because he just sort of enjoyed himself, no one knew when he started, no one knew when he finished. And so he just figured he was batting 1,000 because they paid him at the end anyhow. And then there's actually a magician, and the same thing. He used to say he needed one trick. He did it better than everyone else. Since no one else did it, he was a superstar in his own mind. So Saturday night begins Tisha B'Av. Tisha B'Av. One of the most misunderstood prayers in all of Judaism, one of the most misunderstood holidays in all of Judaism. Tisha B'Av. I can only get heckled by one musician at a time, and I know he's going to get to it. So everything bad pretty much that happens in Judaism, we attribute to Tisha B'Av. That happened on Tisha B'Av. First temple's destroyed. Second temple's destroyed. We're expelled from Spain. We're expelled from Britain. We're expelled from France. Yes, we were expelled from all those countries, by the way. We're expelled from Iran. And it just goes on. The Holocaust starts. All these different things happen on Tisha B'Av. You can Wikipedia it if you would like, if you're really into that. Most recently in 2019, on Erev Tisha B'Av, Ayatollah Khomeini in Iran talked about how he was committed to asking the world and the Muslim world to destroy Israel. And yet we remember this holiday. Why? Why do we think about our oppressors? We read the Book of Lamentations. A miserable piece of writing, let me tell you. We attribute it to Jeremiah. It is... Either you caught that or you didn't. Now you did. So we attribute it to Jeremiah, and in his most depressive of moods, and this was a guy who was not a very happy guy to begin with, talks about all the horrible things we did. And by the way, do you know why the temple is destroyed? Why it says in the Talmud the temple is destroyed? Baseless hatred, exactly. Jews bad-mouthing Jews. Isn't that interesting? You know what the great thing about having a synagogue with no membership dues is? And this has happened twice, where someone acts unethically, and the first time when I heard about it, I said, will you please, you need to change your behavior. And the second time I said, you need to find another temple. That's simple. There's an ethical code to be part of a community, and we are just should enforce it as Jews. And since we're not taking money as membership dues, it's like we have no obligation. But the point is that we do the right thing, because otherwise there is no right thing. There is no world. Tisha B'Av reminds us of that baseless hatred. It reminds us of that baseless hatred and how it was manifest in our people being destroyed, our temple being destroyed, our land being destroyed, and us being expelled from country after country after country. It was on Tisha B'Av that Heinrich Himmler got the approval for his master plan, the master plan called the Final Solution. It became a reality on Tisha B'Av. And so we go into the darkness. We fast for penance. We fast to remind ourselves to Not like in Yom Kippur, we're not fasting because it's sad. We're fasting to disconnect from the physical world. In this case, we're fasting so that we, for one day a year, are conscious of this pain so that we don't live the rest of the year as victims. There has been no people in the history of the world as victimized, persecuted, and hated as the Jews. Mark Twain, in his book Letters from the Earth, which I don't know how many of you read, it's letters from the angel Satan, who's writing letters to his buddies Michael and Gabriel. He's calling from Earth, and he's talking about how ridiculous humans are. He was not that knowledgeable in Jewish theology, but he had this wonderful concept, and he said, you know, for these humans, they're just clueless. Remember this, he says, on Earth, one man in 100 can sing, one man in 1,000 can play an instrument, one man in 10,000 can be around music for more than 8 or 10 hours at a time. But they think in heaven, everybody plays the harp and everybody sings all the time, and that God's happy about this. He says, remember this. They think that in heaven, everybody loves each other. And yet on earth, the white man hates the black man hates the yellow man hates the red man, and everybody hates. Oh, you've read the book. So for one day a year, we are very conscious of this hate and this darkness. And part of the reason is so we don't become victims, because it's really easy to say the world hates us, and so they owe us. We need reparations from Spain and from France and from England and from Iran and from the Romans and the Babylonians. We don't do that. One day a year, we go into our darkness, and the rest of the year, we pick up our big boy pants and we get to work repairing the world like God has told us. But we need to go into the darkness. But you know, some interesting things came out of that. Come out of Tisha B'Av. Christopher Columbus, who, as many we discussed a number of weeks ago, Christopher Columbus, who was clearly a Jew, without question, based on the private letters that we discussed in the Hebrew that he put on him. Christopher Columbus postponed his trip so he could leave Spain with all the other Jews who were being expelled. A trip financed by 3 Jewish bankers, 2 conversos, and 1 rabbi, actually, a very famous rabbi. Financed the trip. There we would not have the diaspora, we would not have this world of America and Jewry without the darkness that happened. And that's kind of the importance of Judaism, is to realize that darkness leads to light. You know, other faith traditions are based in faith. Faith that somebody had an enlightened experience and their pathway of doing it is going to teach us so we can have an enlightened experience. Faith that God has chosen this person to be the physical embodiment God or the Messiah or whatever it may be. Faith and Scientology, which I really don't understand. But faith, it's based in faith. Ours is not. Ours is based in action. Judaism is much more about action than faith, but ours is based in a historical action. See, they came after us. They tried to kill us. Yet we are here, and I don't see a lot of Assyrians walking around. I don't know when the last time I saw Canaanite at Trader Joe's. Right? Okay. I guess if you live on Canaan, you're a Canaanite, you're right. Boy, Matt, I wish we had thought of that. I owe $1 later because I'm going to use that next year. So if you live on Canaan, you're a Canaanite. Oh, that's great. So when we go to our high holidays at the Canyon Club, we really are going into Canaan, aren't we? So what is it about? We've seen that the darkness changes to light, and that's so important. It's not a faith issue. We've seen a pattern every time, thank God. When we are true to Torah, when we live a life that's Jewish, when we live a life committed to Jewish community, when we live a life committed to our teachings, our rituals, and again, our teachings about ethics and actions, not about faith. When we live that life in trying to be righteous, and by the way, there are many people who are religious and not observant, and there are all too many people who are observant and not religious. But when we act in a righteous way, that God will always take care of us. So we have faith that this darkness is going to change into light. Now, just to give you an idea of how much faith we have, it's talked about for a couple thousand years, about this holiday, Tisha B'Av. In the world to come, when the Messiah is here, may he come in our time. Tisha B'Av will not be a fast day, it will be a feast day. We are taught that the Mashiach will be born on Tisha B'Av, if he hasn't been already. I know some of you, your kids think they're the Messiahs, and some of you parents think your kids are Messiahs too. So maybe they've been born. So we don't get scared of the hate. One day a year, we understand it, we look at it. We always fight it. Always we fight it. In Talmud, we are taught that if you see a crime being committed across the river and you do nothing to prevent it, you are guilty of the crime. So we always fight anti-Semitism, fight hatred everywhere we can. Always. But we don't become the hate. We don't fight it with darkness. We fight it with light. We fight it with the faith of knowing that everyone can come together and will come together. That there will come a time, be it in our lifetimes and certainly in our children's, where, as it says in the book of Isaiah, people shall go up. The children of Adam, not of Abraham, the children of Adam shall go to the holy mountain to pray together. Not of Abraham. It says of Adam, which means every human being. So my prayer for all of us as we go into Tisha B'Av is that we're willing to really feel our own darkness. Our darkness as a community, our darkness as a faith, our darkness as a religion, our darkness with the horrible anti-Semitism that is going on, and it just seems to keep getting worse. But that as part of that, we realize we're only going to be with it for one day, and then we're going to move on. We're going to move on where we all love and respect each other, where we all take care of each other, where we all worship God together. We're going to move on and be joyous. My prayer for all of us is now in this time, in this Tisha B'Av, that we all experience the darkness but choose to combat it with light. That we choose to be brothers and sisters together. That we make a conscious choice to put aside the prejudices and the hatreds, to fight against them, and instead to fight that darkness with light, to be a ner simcha, a candle flame of joy, to bring love and light into the world for all men and all women. May we all have this prayer in our time.
You serious? You serious? Was that the introduction?
No. I was
Okay.
Those who didn't see that on the camera, it was cute. So my prayer really is that we all come together in peace, that we realize that there's hatred, but that we can come into peace together. And that is truly my prayer. Normally, or not normally, but in past times, we so often sang Eli, Eli, or other songs. But I think this year it'd be nice to focus on the joy that comes out of Tisha B'Av as well. But you know what? In order to feel the joy, you got to go into the pain first. But maybe, Matt, you have something you can share that will remind us of the beauty of the world.
Oh,
He has to do a song there.
I have been so set up. Well, I'm going to make a brief disclaimer before I sing this and have it go on my permanent record. Anybody know who Tom Lehrer is? Musical satirist. Man, he could write songs that offend just about anybody, and very educational too. But he wrote a song he wrote a song about hatred in a satirical way. So, and it goes a little like this. Oh, the white folks hate the black folks, and the black folks hate the white folks. To hate all but the right folks is an old established rule. But during National Brotherhood Week, Lena Horne and Sheriff Clark are dancing cheek to cheek. It's fun to eulogize with people you despise, as long as you won't let them in your school. Oh, the poor folks hate the rich folks, and the rich folks hate the poor folks. All of my folks hate all of your folks. It's as American as apple pie. But during National Brotherhood Week, New Yorkers love the Puerto Ricans 'cause it's very chic. Well, step up and shake the hand of someone that you can't stand. You can tolerate them if you try. Gets real juicy here. Oh, the Protestants hate the Catholics, and the Catholics hate the Protestants, and the Hindus hate the Muslims, and everybody hates the Jews. But during National Brotherhood Week, it's national, everyone smile at one another hood week. It's be kind to people who are inferior to you. It's only for a week, so have no fear. Be careful that it doesn't last all year. Phooey. I can just sense the hate mail now.
Hey, why should I be the one who gets
I didn't write it. He requested it.
Well, the other one was Will just coming to a start when I'm early.
So why should I be the one who gets hate mail? I want to pass around the joy to you, man. Announcements. So we have lots of announcements. First of all, for those of you who are not aware, we are only about 6 weeks away from Rosh Hashanah. If you are willing to volunteer and help in some way, please come see Sherry, Rita, and or Orlando, all of whom are standing right now. We need a lot of help for National Jewhood Week. And so, I'm sorry, I hear that melody. Okay, so we have, so please, if you have not registered for High Holidays, please register for High Holidays and register now. And the reason is because the way that the city and county of Los Angeles is going, we may very well be the only live services without masks again. If you want to wear a mask, wear a mask. If you don't want to wear a mask, don't wear a mask. Everyone's responsible for themselves. Okay? Is that a new concept, being responsible for yourself? Yeah, it's a Jewish concept. Okay? So it's a very Jewish concept, actually, in a lot of ways, and that's a whole other class. But so we will be having services at the Canyon Club. Bezrat Hashem, Cantor Sam, Cantor Benny, MB, Matt. We may have some special guests. I actually placed a call. I'm going to see about someone to see if he can come speak who just spoke in D.C. at a rally. He was one of the kids who was beat up at Sushi Fumi. I think it's an interesting story. But there's will be some study sessions. It's going to be great, God willing. But so if you haven't registered, you can do it online. Or there are packets right here with Rita or Orlando or Sherry who are standing up. Rita, Sherry's just, they're all just waving hands, apparently. You can see what kind of control I got. Register, be kind. It has been a difficult year for the synagogue, and in so many ways, like many organizations, we do not charge for anything, ever, and we're not going to. That's just the way it is. In Judaism, for all of our history, up until mid-20th century, and then only in the Reform and Conservative movements, and only in America, Canada, South Africa, and England are there membership dues or cost for high holiday tickets. We can go if we're in Belgium or Venezuela or wherever. We can just walk into the synagogue. You do not need to pay for tickets. This is an invention that we all grew up with, but it started in the mid-20th century, and no Jew should be prohibited from coming to a service because of money, God forbid, and no Jew should ever have to humiliate themselves saying, oh, I'm not sure I can afford it, and a temple say, well, send me your tax returns, which happens all the time. And my answer is, to quote my father, blessed memory, they can kiss in my tochas. Okay? So We do not charge for that, but at the same time, that means everyone has to step up like we have for 2,000 years, 3,000 years, where we all know that if we want a community to survive, we need to step up.
Or also the box of me a Tibblim at the cup and drive the Fisa Royce.
Where the heck did you learn that?
My dad.
God bless him.
Which means you should grow like an onion with your head on the ground and your feet in the air.
I think the rest of it is, and then your beard should cover your face, right?
I didn't learn the advanced part.
And that was the clean version that you translated. So, right? So the point is, register early, because if I am correct that a lot of synagogues are not going to be doing services without masks, especially in LA County, I have a feeling that suddenly registrations are going to go through the roof faster than they normally do. We always fill up by the time the holidays come and we're in standing room. But please do that now. So that announcement. We have classes coming up. We have services coming up. A lot of weddings coming up. A lot of weddings. And we have other announcements. So if you can register, there's talk to. Rita, did you want to make an announcement, or did you want Sherry to? You want Sherry to. So you're telling me to tell her she has an announcement. You tell her herself. She'll beat me up. Sherry, you're always on. Ask Steve.
Okay, we are having our first cooking class, which I'd like to announce. That's going to be on Sunday, August 1st. It's going to be at our home, and it's going to be done by our own Rabbi Barclay. And it is going to be a cooking class on vegan cooking. So we are going to be making, and we have the menu this week, we didn't last week, we're going to be making a vegan chili with vegan cornbread, with pickled onions and pickled jalapenos. And it's just going to be very low key. We're going to hang out and do it. If you guys are interested, there are limited spots. So get in touch with me. You can reach me. Did you catch it? And Matt's serenading me. So in any event, you can reach me at sisters@nearsimcha.org. So if you are interested, let me know. Mahjong is back at it. We're playing every Thursday night at a house in Thousand Oaks. So if you know how to play, you want to play, you don't know how to play and want to learn, reach out to me as well. And I think that's it for the sisterhood. But Steve has something to say about the business directory.
Well, thank you. So 2021 is Save Orlando's back year. Those of you that have been to High Holidays, we have seen Orlando look like a pretzel from lifting all the stuff, moving all the stuff. If you think this setup here is a lot, come to High Holidays a little early. But we need as much help as we can during High Holidays. I'm getting way too old for this. Just getting out of that chair was enough. And Orlando's in need of a very good chiropractor. So if there's any in the house, please see Orlando. We got together today for the men's club, and we're going to have a fun year. Who plays pickleball? Who knows what pickleball is? I had no clue. I had to look it up online because my wife's been hammering me. I want to play pickleball. So we are going to have a pickleball tournament for the temple. And we're going to also have a bowling night. And for the rabbi's kids who beat the daylights out of me on the golf course, we're going to have come on out at the nighttime driving range night. So we've got a lot of fun events coming up. We have a business directory. If you have a business and you want to solicit some business, I saw people here with dogs. I have a dog business. I'll be talking to all of you. We are going to put together a business directory. And also, we're going to start a monthly temple newsletter. It's going to have From the Rabbi as the lead. We're going to have the men's club, Sisters of Simcha, announcements, birthdays, anniversaries. So how do you get mentioned? Well, Orlando is going to make a registration card. It'll be available at High Holidays along with the business directory. We'll give you an announcement how to get to it, where you can put your name, your email, your cell phone, your birthday, your anniversary, so that we can announce you, so we can recognize you every single month of every single year and make the temple bigger, more community-oriented, and have a lot more fun. Also, if you come to the cooking class, please like dogs. We have 3 pit bulls. They will be crated, but they will announce you when you come to the door. So just be aware.
We will also thank you, and we will also be having you'll get something in the next month about religious school starting and bar mitzvah training, and our new educational director David McGarry, who many of you do not know but have seen. David is our Torah reader on High Holidays, the really wonderful young man. And Dina and Rod, you can vouch for how he is as a tutor, right? So pick well, but she did all the work. You guys can vouch for her, the tutor.
He's quite a young man.
He's quite a young man. Well, so is Perry's quite a young woman. But so yeah, we're very blessed with that. Announcements. Michael, do you have any announcements of business stuff going on in the near future? Okay, Matt.
Really?
How's your guitar?
Yes, I do. Okay. Yes, I do have my own signature guitar now. This is not it. Don't ask me why, but it looks very similar to this. And it is the Matt Gurman Sophia, and you can get it through Cremona Guitars. It's a special order, and I'm excited about that. I waited about 3 months to receive it, and it just got to my door last week. I think it was last week. Yeah. Also, I'd like just to remind everybody about Orbis Unum LLC. It is a nonprofit outreach that my friend Dr. Brenda Freshman has started. It teaches tolerance, anti-hate. They produce media projects, which my wife and I have done quite a few of them in the way of cartoons with voices and things to teach kids to not hate on each other and to be more tolerant. And we're hoping to get budgeted for doing some more of those. We've done 4 of them so far. And you can see the Box of Crayons, which is an adaptation of Aesop Fable, The Bundle of Sticks. It's on YouTube now.
And it's much better than Aesop's Fable.
It's kind of a newer take on.
It's just better because you and Kelly are doing all the sound.
We are doing all the sounds. Yes, we are.
So he is a fabulous wife. For those of you who are not familiar with Kelly, she's fabulous, and she takes care of him, and
Yeah, she does.
that's pretty amazing. We both married up, didn't we?
No doubt.
No doubt. Okay, Sherry, you didn't have to agree that fast. So please, most importantly right now, please register for High Holidays. Please come get a packet from Rita, who's raising her hand, or Orlando, or Sherry. Orlando also has a way you can do it right now on the phone, not this moment when the service is over, and so that everyone can register. Yes, Rita. Right. So, and again, if you don't register for High Holidays, but we don't have your name for email address, please give any of them, your email address, so we can take care of that as well. Misha Berach, that the one who healed our ancestors heals those in need of it. You know, we don't say for the Avot, we don't say about the mothers, and we've talked about why and the different reasons. That is a prayer in Talmud. It's specific for the men, because Abraham finds God on a mountain, and Isaac finds it in a field, and Jacob finds it in a building. And so the idea is they always can find it in any of those places, as opposed to Sarah, Rebecca, Rachel, and Leah, who all find it getting pregnant. And as much as Steve or Stan or Roger or I would want to, which we don't, there's no way we're getting pregnant. I don't. Right? Okay. So that's a prayer that's done in the name of our patriarchs, of our ancestors. But healing is done in the name of mothers. We call out someone, the daughter or son of such and such, their mother's name, because it says in the Holy Zohar that all the gates of heaven are open to the tears of a mother. Now, I don't believe that Allison loves my boys more than I do, but she carried them inside of her for 9 months, if you can imagine that. They weren't quite that big. Although probably felt like it. So the point is that this is a time that really the feminine energy and the women and the power of that, of Sarah, Rebecca, Rachel, and Leah, and of all mothers, can come and bless for healing for those who need. And then, so if you have someone you'd like to pray for the healing of the neshama, of their spirit, of the goof of their body, I ask that you please rise so we call out these names together. As we call out these names to receive a Misha Berach. Shelley, what's your Hebrew name? Nashaya ben Your mother. Yahweh. If you just want to type in names from YouTube or Facebook, please feel free so they can be called out as well. Man, what's your Hebrew name? I'm Mordechai Meir ben Sarah Golda. We say prayers of healing for all those who need it in this world, especially those who have been devastated in one way or another, physically or mentally or emotionally, or any other way through this disease that has been passed around over the last year and a half, and all the reactions to it that have caused sickness as well. We say prayers of healing for all those who have been injured in acts of war, especially in defense of the United States or Israel. We say special prayers of healing for all those who have been injured who are first responders, our police, our fire, our emergency personnel who do so much for all of us when we need it and put themselves on the line. We say prayers of healing and send prayers of healing, that the one who healed our ancestors blesses all of those who have no one to pray for their healing, that we pray for them. Misha Berach.
Berach Avoteinu Mekor HaBracha Leimoteinu. May the source of strength who bless the ones before us help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. Yisheberach Imoteinu Mekor HaBracha Leavoteinu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, a renewal of body, a renewal of spirit, and let us say Amen. Kiddush. Kiddush means sanctification. Kiddush also means partnership. You always put a little bit of wine or a little bit of water in your cups of wine for Kiddush, so that the cup actually overflows for a series of reasons which are unknown to me and beyond my comprehension. We're using a large glass tonight, so I'm putting a little bit more water and a little bit more wine. So it is a symbol of partnership because there are secrets that should only be shared over a cup of wine, and as we say, the numerical value of the word for wine, the numerical value of the word for secret are the same, because there's a secret in Kiddush. And there's also a reminder, the more the wine goes in, the more the secrets come out. Michael, if you want to take this. How do we hold a Kiddush cup? We hold it from the bottom. Why? And it should overflow a little bit when we pick it up. Why do we hold it that way? I suggest reading a book by Rabbi Steinsaltz called The 13-Petaled Rose. The wine is the rose. We are the petals. We're the 5 fingers of God that are holding. If you look in the bottom of a rose, there's the one flower that has God holding the flower, actually. And so I ask we please rise for Kiddush.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei pri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu, v'shabbat kodsho be'ahava uvratzon inilanu, zikaron l'maaseh bereshit, ki hu yom tehila l'mikra'ei kodesh, zecher l'tziat Mitzrayim. Ki banu v'harta, ve'otanu kidashta, mikol ha'amim, v'shabbat kodshecha, ve'ahava uvratzon, hinaltanu. Baruch atah Adonai, mekadesh HaShabbat. L'chaim! We remain standing as we turn to Aleinu. What is Aleinu? Aleinu is a prayer where we say we're going to take the yoke of the kingdom of heaven and put it upon ourselves. Aleinu, which we find on page, when I look at my crib notes, page 118. Aleinu is what we're saying in this case that we're going to observe Tisha B'Av in whatever way, be it by fasting or just by being conscious and having a quiz or just pausing for a moment and considering our own personal darkness so that we can come out of that darkness into light as we continue with Aleinu. Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon hakol, la'teik et olah liyotzeh breshit, shelo asanu kegoyei haratzot, velo samanu kimishpachot ha'adama, shelo sam chelkeinu kahem, vegor aleinu kechol hamonam, va'anachnu kor'im, umishtachavim umodim, Lifnei melech malchei hamlachim hakadosh baruch hu shehu notei shamayim beyoset aretz umoshev yekaro bashamayim ima'al ushkinatu zo begovei meromi hu Eloheinu enod emet malkeinu efesulato Kakatu betorato, ve'yadata hayom v'hashevota, elevavecha, ki Adonai hu ha'Elohim, pa-pa-pa-pa, shamayim imal, ve'al ha'aretz, mitechat, ein od, kakatu betoratecha, Adonai imloch leolam ba'ed, v'ne'emar v'haya Adonai l'melech al kol ha'aretz, bayom hahu, yeh Adonai echad, u'shemo Please be seated. Allison, do you have some handy wipes? And some sticky wipe. Oh, thank you. I got wine on. Kaddish. What is Kaddish? No one's answering? Kaddish is the prayer that makes National Brotherhood Week actually work. Kaddish is a transitionary prayer. The entire service is based upon the structure of God's name of the Yod He Vav and He. Kaddish is the bridge. For more information, come to one of our classes on meditation, mysticism, and Kabbalah. Kaddish is a prayer about transition. Transition from one part of the service to another, transition from what we say it after we learn, because we're transitioning from being ignorant to becoming more learned and wise. We say it here to recognize the transition of those who have gone before us, who have died. It is a commitment to take the best of their qualities and walk them in the world. If there's someone you would like to say Kaddish for because it is the year of mourning, because it is a yard site, or just because, I ask that you please rise as we say Kaddish. If you want someone to call out, please call out their names. We just did the yard site, right? By the way, if there's someone on YouTube or Facebook that wants to call in their names, please type them in. Alexa. We say special prayers for all those who died defending America or Israel, all those who died through sickness or in acts of terror or war, especially those who have died defending this nation and who were first responders, first ones on the scene, get treated so poorly so often, that those who did die, that their lives, their souls, their memories may be a blessing. And for all those who have no one to say Kaddish for them, we say Kaddish. If it is your custom to rise, I ask that you do so as we continue with the Kaddish. Yikadala v'ikadash shemei rabah, v'alma divrach irutev yamlich malchuteh, b'chayachon u'yomachon u'v'chayed chol beit Yisrael, b'agalav izman kariv emru, yeshmei rabah mevorach le'olam u'lelamei almaya, yitbarak v'yishtabak v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal, shemei dekirusha b'rechu, le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tushpachata v'nechemata, tamayan ve'alma v'emru. Amen. Yeshlam Rabba min Shemaya v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'emru. Amen. Osei shalom ben Ramavu ya'asei shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'emru. Amen. May the one who ordains peace in the universe bring peace upon these souls, their families, their communities, peace upon this community, upon this nation, upon Israel, and please God, especially in this time of Tisha B'Av and beyond, as we enter Elul, as we enter Tishrei. Please God, peace in all the world. Together we say, Amen. Please be seated. So during summertime, if you have a song sheet, we typically on summertime, we do this wonderful version of camp stuff, because you all know that I'm basically just a camp counselor at heart and an overgrown child. Sherry, I can't see with this light, and I already know you're nodding too easily on that. And so, God creates. There's evening, there's morning, day one. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu. We ask that God shelter us while we lay down and help us to arise, to get up in the morning, for our spirits to return. You have the words on your song sheets if you do not know them by now. And we will get this done and have a beautiful Shabbat. Look at the stars and wait, they're coming out. There they come, little bunny foo-foo, hopping through Deerhill Park. And so, we welcome the bunnies and the sunset. We welcome the stars, the night jasmine that have now bloomed. Realize the magnificence of God, because that's really what Shabbos is about.
Vayar Elohim et kol asher asa, vehine tov me'od. Vayar Elohim et kol asher asa, vehine tov me'od. Vayar Elohim et kol asher asa, vehine tov me'od. Vayar Elohim et kol asher asa, vehine tov.
It's okay if you want to hold your loved ones too.
There was evening, there was morning, there was evening, there was morning. Vayerev, vayivoker, tov me'od.
And there was evening and there was morning, day one.
Vayivoker,
בוקר טוב מאוד. השכיבנו אדוני אלוהינו לשלום, לשלום. והעמידנו מלכנו לחיים. ופרוס עלינו סוכת שלומך, ופרוס
Cover us in a sukkah of your
עלינו
peace.
סוכת שלומך. Shelter us beneath thy wings, O Adonai. Guard us from all harmful things, O Adonai. Keep us safe throughout the night, till we wake with morning's light. Teach us, O God, wrong from right. Amen. 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 Amen.
If you want to know what Sukkah Shlomecha is, it means a covering your peace. If you're not sure what that means, look at the star. You know, when you make a sukkah, you got to be able to see the stars through the top at night, and you'd still have more shade than light in the day. You want to keep it what a sukkah of God's covering, of God's peace is. Look at the bunny rabbits. Look at the night jasmine as you leave tonight. Stop by them and smell them. But you know what a real covering piece is? God's peace? Look around you. We are Jews. We have survived everything by being together. But together we have prayers that are so strong. Souls that are so strong. Every one of us was at Sinai. I remember you. You were dressed differently. So, if you want to have peace in the world, the covering of God's peace, then you need to open your heart. At least for Shabbos, at least for Tisha B'Av, at least to the people. That's what Shabbat is. That's the shelter.
Amen. 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 Amen.
Thank you, Michael. Thank you, Matt. Thank you, Orlando. Everyone who helped with so many things. We will see you, B'ezrat Hashem, next Shabbat, virtually and in person. And everyone, please have an easy fast. Shabbat Shalom.